Alrighty, guys. So huge episode we got going on today. This is the intro to the intro today for today's pod. And tell them why. We got a huge episode. Tell them why.
Look, we covered a lot of stuff. Obviously, we covered how the radio industry used to be. We're sitting here with Carmen, the legend, in the in the Fresno Central Valley area. You know exactly who she is. You've listened to her voice many times, and she told you a little bit of her backstory, how she got into radio. It might not be what you thought it was. So it was really cool. We got into that. And then she also dropped some gems about the Fresno and the Central Valley area. If you didn't know, she's not from here. She gets into that a little bit. So it's a really cool episode. And then to top it off at the end, there's an event coming up here in Fresno that you're not going to want to miss. So she's going to share all the details with that. And, man, let's get into it.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Oasis Podcast. We are officially on season 2 of the Oasis Podcast. And just like every week, man, we appreciate all the love, support you guys always constantly show us, especially in season 1, man. But more importantly, today, we have a very special guest today. Like every week, man, we always promise to bring you guys the aces of every single industry. And this one's a little interesting. This is the ace of the radio industry. Tell them why, Dan.
Look, if you grew up in the Central Valley and you're around my age, even a little bit older, you don't know radio without this woman right here. We got Carmen, a.k.a. Carmen on Air from B95. She's literally a legend here in the Valley. Like I said, if you know radio, she's part of radio culture here in the Valley. So we're excited.
Thank you so much. That was really a sweet introduction. I appreciate it. So, yeah, man, I've been doing radio forever. So it feels like it's crazy because when I get people that I see at work or somewhere, and they'll be like, I grew up listening to you when I was in school. I feel so old. But then I remember that I actually started very young. So I'm like, I give myself credit. I was pretty young. I actually was 18. So there was literally people who were around my age, still going to school probably. Yeah. And, it just happened that I didn't go to college. So that's what ended up happening. I ended up being in radio, and that's the reason why I feel like, it's been so long, such a huge journey, a crazy experience, but I grew up with a lot of people that were listening just as much as they were growing up with me, Yeah.
Yeah, because, it's crazy. Like, I literally, we were talking about it earlier. I was like, damn, dude, I don't even, when I think radio, I just think, Carmen, that's what comes to mind, here, just growing up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. I love to hear that, too, though, because with radio, it's different than TV, right? So in radio, you talk, you give ideas, you give advice, you give whatever topic of conversation it is, and you don't get that instant feedback, right? So it's different than being in the audience and being in front of people. People that do that live and with people is way different than that world, right? And that's because you're doing something and hoping that you get a good reaction. With the radio, you don't get that reaction until way later. Now that social media is very prominent, it's way different than it was back then. When I first started, I did it without people knowing what I looked like. You know what I'm saying? They just would hear my voice. So I always got these crazy ideas of what I probably look like. And so to know that the way the industry is now is way different than when I started. It's hella cool because, to be honest, if I would have started that way, I would have appreciated it too. The fact that I get to show my face and show myself on social media and then be in radio. But being in radio and not knowing does the world like you? Do they like what I said? Because I was very controversial in the beginning of my career, and that's because we had 2 men and me, right? And in this show that we had, it was mostly about talking about relationships, situations that happen to people. Some people would call and they'll say, this is my idea of this or whatever. But it was very, very different than it is now. So back then when I first started, it was like doing a talk show. You know how the Jerry Springer show we all know now, it was very fake. Did you guys watch Jerry Springer? Cause
I thought it was real to this day.
I did. Yeah, R.I.P. though. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I know. Rest in peace for sure. He was definitely with the culture.
R.I.P.
Yeah, this is breaking news right now.
Are you serious?
I swear, I didn't know that was fake.
Okay, you haven't watched some of the episodes. If you go back and YouTube some of just put Jerry Springer crazy episodes.
Hey, even Freddie from behind the camera.
You would. Yeah, Jerry Springer was definitely fake.
Damn.
All of it, though?
Maybe they had some real stuff, but no, there was a lot of actors. There was definitely. Let me tell you one, okay? I saw, and you could probably YouTube this. I saw an episode where it was a black man and a white woman, and they were up there, and he's like, yeah, I got a big secret to tell her. Yeah, right? It gets worse. So they were like, oh, yeah, I'm here to tell my girl something. And Jerry's like, all right, go ahead. He's like, I'm black. And she was like, what? He was black the whole time and didn't know all of a sudden. So I'm like, I look back at video like that, and I'm like, wow, we really let this slide. Like, we really thought this was so real, because a lot of it did look real, right? Well, unfortunately and fortunately, I mean, entertainment is entertainment. That's the point. So it was so successful because, yes, it was entertainment. It was funny. A lot of the times people were watching when, you were getting out of work or on lunch or whatever, where it distracts you from your personal life. And that's what radio really is, right? So in the beginning of radio, I thought that you had to be this persona that was fake, and unfortunately, back in the day, it was like that, where you had to play a role, you had to play like this person. And that's a little tip that's like behind the scene that not a lot of people talk about, but it was that, like, you had to play a front, like, okay, this is what your character is going to be. And when I got into it, I was an intern, I was very young, like I said, I was 17, 18. And when that happened, they told me that I had this role to play, right? And my role was to be the female of this circle with us, just two men and me. And I have to be like against men at all times. Whatever they say, it's annoying. They're fucking full of shit. Every man is the same. That's how I had to have the idea, right? So then I thought, man, so many people are going to hate me, right? Like, they're going to think this girl is annoying. Like, no matter what men do, like, we can't get it right. And really, it was this persona I had to play. It was good and it was bad, because it was good because I did have a lot of people talking about me, but it was bad because I felt like I couldn't be myself, right?
Now these women ain't shit.
Stop.
Because
no,
this
that's
is your
true.
fault
this
now.
This is my fault, because
this is all your fault.
I would basically lead on, like, if you know, like the song "I Bust the Windows at Your Car," I'd be like, yeah, bust them windows, girl. And the truth is, like, it sucks because I didn't always feel that way. Sometimes I felt like, no, he's right, or yeah, he's right. But at the time I was going into the industry, there wasn't many women in this music industry, period. Of course, also in radio, and still to this day, it's very male driven. There are a lot more women, but it's still very male driven. So going into it, I thought, okay, this is what I have to do. Mind you, my dad did radio his whole life, right? And I always wondered why my dad never wanted me to do radio. Now I know why. Well, then I knew why. So yeah, it sucked because I had to play this role. And then when the unfortunate situation happened where we had to cut ties, the two men left. I ended up, doing my own thing, and they had to find a partner for me. So at this point, I'm like, oh shit, now I'm the lead, right? I'm like, oh my God, this has never happened, and no one ever prepared me for this. I haven't had a mentor woman that can show me the ropes in radio. So I literally was lost. I was like, you know what? I'm getting thrown on the fire, so maybe this is the time for me to glow. And there was a lot of, times where I doubted myself, of course. I'm like, oh my gosh, these two men, everybody know them. Like, everybody knows them. I'm not even from Fresno, so they're going to already hate me, blah, blah, blah. And
whenever you first started that show, did they already have that show established, or was that something you kind of came into as an intern?
It was already established. This is why I felt even more intimidated, right? Because I'm like, everybody knows these two men, like, they're the staple. But really, I never stopped to think, like, no, we were the staple. Because when I came in, the ratings were different. The ratings were way better. We had a really good dynamic, and I'll give them that. We had a really great dynamic. It was very successful. And, things played the way they did. And now I look back, I'm like, it was meant to be, because when that happened, I was able to grow, right? So I ended up getting another guy, and we've literally been together in the radio morning show. We've been together on the show for, I want to say, almost 10 years now. So obviously it's been successful, but those doubts come in, especially when you don't know what you're getting into. And with radio, it's like that. Like, in radio, you just have to get thrown in the fire. It's very different now, though, because I always get people, I was like, can I be an intern? And interns aren't a thing anymore. It's crazy, because internships, I feel like a lot of people learn in any type of business, right? And now that doesn't exist because of laws, lawsuits and everything that takes place with entertainment. People have to protect themselves, and that's why we can't have interns. But now the question is, how do people get in radio? Right? Like, how are we supposed to be in radio if we can't even intern and get my foot in like you did? And yeah, that's a good fucking question, because I have no idea.
Do you think, like, because obviously now, like, getting into radio, a lot of people go to, like, school for radio, go to college and stuff like that, communication, all the stuff they do. I did. But, like, how does that work for you? Because I know you said, did you graduate or you didn't graduate?
No, I didn't. So I ended up leaving. But not everybody has this path, right? Because to me, I thought I had to go to school and finish my journey. I went for broadcasting, right? So I was doing journalism. I was at Reedley College for a little bit. And when I got in were you really?
I went to Reedley, yeah.
Hey, did you graduate?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, good. See, I didn't. Some people can make it. No. So what happened was I was really excited, but to be honest, I had always heard that you just have to have talent to be in radio, right? And how do you know you have talent, right? Going into it, I had nothing to go off of. Again, I didn't have a female mentor. I grew up in LA, and I listened to radio. I loved the radio DJs. I knew I wanted to be with them, in the room with them. So how they made me feel is how I just went off of. Like, I want to make people feel that, you know? When I grew up listening to Big Boy and Lala, like, these are people who are were staples in LA, still are actually, Big Boy. But when that happened, I was like, I want to be that. I want to make people feel how I felt, because there was nobody like that was allowing that. So anyway, you asked about college. So in radio, yes, it's cool to like just get in the way I did, but I don't recommend it. You know, I really wish that I would have finished college. I really wish that I would have got a chance to like know how journalism works, what it is to, you know, be able to interview people, what it is to be able to, I don't know, entertain people in a different way. That's a different light. Like, education is so important, yes, and I really felt like I would have completed it, but it just didn't work out that way for me. So what happened was I took an internship, which was a selective class, right? And I was an intern for credits for Readly. So when I was in, I was instantly on air, and I heard that not many people can just go on air. They don't just throw interns on air unless they have
you signed up for the internship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You show up your first day and you're on air.
Not the first day.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it eventually got like that, because back 10 days there wasn't a lot of lawsuits. People were suing for just dumb shit, right? So back in the day, we did some dumb stuff. Like, I did a lot of challenges where I had to do, like, one day I ate cat food on the radio. So I was kind of like the
Holy
butt of the
shit.
joke.
As an intern?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah,
That's
I was
cool.
like that. We had to be like the butt of the joke, right?
You had to really eat it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How do
No,
people
it was
see it? You're on the
worse. You
radio,
think
though. You
that's
could just be
bad?
chewing, like...
No. Exactly, right? The theater of the mind is really what radio is. But it got worse. I ate a goldfish. I fished a goldfish out and ate it.
That's
Like
like
Steve-O?
Wolf of Wall Street.
But did they have, like,
Live.
cameras first? Were they, like, showing...
No.
So then why would
now
you
that I
actually
think
do... Y'all
about
could
it,
have
I'm
lied
like,
about the whole thing.
Now, yeah. now
Because
that-
of fact now, Nate.
if there's cameras,
she's
if
trying to
there's-
prove herself. What do you mean?
Well, that was the
makes
thing.
sense.
I was trying to prove myself, and now that I think about it, fuck, you're right. There was no cameras.
Yeah, you
could have
could've
just
just
been like,
straight up-
this is crazy. No, I ate the fucking fish, and I always felt bad like over that. But I'm like, those were some of the dumb shit we had to do as interns,
Yeah,
because
that's a pretty fucking crazy one.
That is pretty wild.
they brought it, and it was like in the tub fishing, and they were like, if you lose this question, I forgot what type of topic we had, but if you lose this question, you got to fish it out and eat it.
Was it a good-sized fish, too? Like, was it like a hefty...
let me tell you. So I had to describe it as I was chewing it.
Let's hear it.
Listen, I knew that this is something I had to do. Mind you, I am like the worst when it comes to like textures, and I don't even know how I did it. But
The
it
scales.
was in my mind. It was like, if I don't do this, I'm not cool. Like, I'm not. Like, people aren't going to be entertained by me. Someone else is going to do it. So I took on the whatever you guys challenged me to do, I'm going to do. Little did I freaking know I had to do that. But anyway, so when I was chewing it, they were like, oh, she's actually chewing it. And they're like talking about it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so disgusting. I could barely talk. I was like, oh, it's like you could feel the little bones. I still to this day feel so
Thinking
fucking
about it.
up. Yeah, but anyway, so I had to do dumb shit like that, right? And that was a thing. Interns were used as entertainers, like, to entertain. Like, okay, let's make them, challenge them to do this. And we did it because we thought this was a cool way to be in radio. And then not realizing that during that time that you're doing all this stupid shit, you're entertaining, there's someone watching you, right? There's always someone watching you, by the way, no matter what type of business you're in. But I was definitely being watched by my program director at the time. And he was like, yeah, you got something, you know?
She's
And
down to eat goldfish, man.
She's down for that. But the thing is,
Not the crackers either. Real goldfish.
listen, other people really thought like that was crazy, but other interns did worse. Like,
Whoa.
What you mean worse?
like
What's the worst
Let's
you
throw
ever
something
heard?
out here. Let's throw a couple
there was
out.
I mean, this, I don't know, worse than that, but there was a lot of R-rated stuff that happened that was actually like in front of other listeners. Like, radio has changed so much, let me tell you.
But-
Like, people would win tickets by flashing. So, like, they'd be like, all right, if you want to win tickets to go see LL Cool J, you have to come to the station and flash us.
Well, I mean, that's LL Cool J, though.
Exactly. I
I'll
was like,
flash
I'll
too
fucking
for some
flash for
fucking
LL Cool J. Yeah, I was obsessed with
Damn,
him, too.
I don't remember that type of stuff. Shit.
No, yeah. Well, see,
We missed
You was young. Y'all was young. Y'all was too little.
That's why I say
Y'all
radio
babies.
and, well, the music industry, but yes, like, entertainment period has changed so much because of Me Too movements and, you know, those type of things, which is, it's a good thing. But to be honest, and this is coming from a female, it sucked that it took a lot of the fun out of things. Speaking for myself, because obviously I'm an entertainer, but I've also been Me Too'd, like, shit has actually happened to me where you think, how come you're not damaged? How come you're not like, how come you don't rage against everything else like other women do? It's like, and I'm not selective. I just don't feel like one situation is gonna damage me, and it can. I truly believe it does happen to people, but I went through a lot. I've almost been raped a couple times.
Like because of like the industry.
No.
Or okay.
But I'm talking about the Me Too movement and how it's because of that people are more careful with what they do, especially like in the entertainment side. Which let me tell you, a lot of it I do like. Thank God for some sort of safety for women, because there was a lot of stuff that was done that women couldn't really have a say so or didn't have a say so, or they felt like it was okay because it's just a woman, it's just a girl. So yeah, there are a lot of things there I agree with, right? But I also don't feel like a lot of the fun stuff should have been taken out, and that comes with everything though. I feel like even with music, right? Are you guys able? Let me ask you a question. Are you guys able to separate the artist from the art? Or the art from the artist?
You know what? I feel like that's kind of tough because, I think to some extent, yes. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like the Michael Jackson thing, like I always like Michael Jackson, badass music, you know what I mean? But can you separate like the shit that he did as a human being from his like discography? You know
I feel
what
like it's tough because who made it, that's the only.
Yeah.
But I get it because it's like there is a difference. There is like a fine line between people enjoy music and the words speak to them differently than. They don't even know the person who made
it. Some people don't even know who the artist is, what they do in their personal lives. They don't know these things, so they attach themselves to the music, So
like the idea of what they think. Well, yeah, I think so. But then you look at like the Rico case or like YSL right now, where it's like how far off, like, and a lot of it too is like the artist and like what they're talking about. Like, is it real or is it like? You look at Young Thug, he basically told on himself and like hella songs.
This is true.
Versus like other people that are making that shit up. So it's like it depends on the artist. Like,
that's true.
Are they separate from their lyrics or are they not? I think
that's true, and I think that's another whole topic
Free Jeffrey,
conversation.
Slime shit.
But do you know that he's also there's a lot. If you really look into his case, there's a lot of dirt there too. And some people would say like, well, why free him and not him? You get what I'm saying?
100%.
So yeah, and also like in music, it's tough because when you connect with a certain song, right, or like a time in your life when you have this connection with this music, and then you find out this person was fucked up in the head in every way, and
Mac
you're like,
Miller.
damn. Oh, Mac Miller.
But like his best music was all hella
But he
depressed.
didn't do nothing.
But
He didn't do nothing crazy to someone.
True, that's
right?
true.
Like he
that's
didn't.
True.
He
But his
didn't,
best music was made when he was sad, though. You know what I'm saying?
And it's
when
so sad.
Like,
yeah, exactly. And are you gonna stop listening to it because you knew he was sad? Then no.
No, not yeah.
Yeah,
There's a time and a place now for it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's like
because now when you look back and listen, because my sister's a big fan of his too. When she goes back to listen now, she's like, "Fuck,
it's different."
I listen to it different.
Yeah.
So, but again, like Chris Brown, right? Yeah. I hate that because of the situation that he was put in, that he put himself in. Still, he seems to feel like he can never outlive that because everybody has something to say at some point.
I feel like we forgot about that. Not we forgot.
Look at social media. Go look at his comments. I'm with you. I'm like, hey, Rihanna forgave him. Why the fuck am I mad? Right?
Yeah.
Now, if Rihanna had a situation where she's like, no, fuck him, he's still
she
wrong.
doing her whole. She's
had a whole song with him after.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
And didn't he bite her? When you bite someone, you're losing a fight. He likes
I don't know.
He was probably getting beat up. Honestly, I could see that.
It could
high
be
possibility.
But the point is like, she forgave him, so I'm like, you can say what you want about Chris Brown. That's a talented ass man. That's the next thing we have to Michael Jackson, in my opinion.
That's true.
In my opinion, right?
And he can rap too.
Yeah, exactly. He's very, very talented.
What have you experienced though? Because I feel like you're kind of in the limelight too. Especially as a radio personality.
Yeah.
So have you experienced that people separate your art from the artist?
Yes. So look, I had a fan one day a fan/listener, really loyal listener of mine, back in the day, come up to me and was like, you know what? Because I do morning and middays, right? And this is back then too when I started. I've been doing morning and middays forever. But he was like, I don't know why, but I just don't really like you when it comes to the morning show. Like something about your attitude, like your energy's off. I just don't like you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, and you're telling me because, but then he was like, but like after, like from 10 o'clock, swear to God, he was like from 10 and on, I fuck with you.
It was the coffee.
It could be the coffee.
The caffeine.
But I'm gonna take credit in this.
Caffeinated there.
I'm gonna take credit in this, but because if you think about it, it's when I told you I had to play a persona, right? Yep. So then it made sense to me. I was like, cool, you don't not like me. You don't like the fucking person I have to play. Yeah, the script, exactly. Radio was very scripted back then, not anymore. Like, let me tell you, it's very, very different. It's changed so much over the years. But yeah, anyway, that's that. When it comes to like people feeling some type of way, they're always going to feel that, right? You're not going to please them all. And let me tell you, I'm a people pleaser, and I hated that about my life as an entertainer. I hated that because I'm such a people pleaser that I almost like feel bad that some people don't agree or don't, or like feel like I offended them, and I'm like, no, I didn't. But I've learned to be like, hey, at the end of the day, I can't please them all. Like at the end of the day, I also have to like give myself credit for what I did. I put in the work. There's people that care, and there's people that are not going to give a fuck.
Well, that's
about
a part
me.
of the job too. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
your role was to piss certain people off.
Exactly.
Too,
that was what I signed up for. Yeah. So yeah, they're like, I've disappointed some people, I'm sure, but I really feel like I have such a stronger fan base, and because of that, I've been able to say that I can do radio. I was 15 years now. So yeah, it's I've been grateful to be able to continue, because let me tell you, radio not only changed over the years, but they've cut down so many over the years because of technology and because of things that people are able to do. Like I was in radio in LA at some point too while working in Fresno. So radio is a beautiful thing now, but it's scary road trip. Like there's highs and there's lows, and seeing my dad be in radio his whole life and go through the highs and lows, I was like, man, do I want to do this? But it ended up paying off.
With the radio stuff, I was kind of wondering right now, like, because you were talking about how it's scripted. So, like, how is it like a full-on script, or how does it look like on the back? Like, before you go on air, like, do you know what the show is gonna look like? Is it kind of like?
I mean, yeah, but it's not like written scripts. Like if
line.
I'm reading lines and stuff, no. It's more like, all right, this is the idea we're gonna go for, right? We're gonna go like this is how my old boss thought. So this is not. I feel like I think it's very important for me to clarify that it's not every radio station. I know there's a lot that were just freely themselves.
It's like certain shows follow that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think everybody knows now, entertainment, a lot of it is fake, right? A lot of it is like scripted, and it's meant to do just that, entertain.
The NBA.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a point there. There's a point there.
Scripted as hell.
Scripted, it's rigged. No, but I do feel like that's everywhere. But yeah, back in the day, the way it was set up and the way I was taught. Again, this is me, a baby into this industry that I have no idea about.
What year? What years was this too?
This was like 2006.
Damn, so we were like cranking that Soldier Boy. Y'all wasn't
I was still in
Yeah.
Mexico.
You guys were.
I wasn't even in the States.
You weren't here yet? You're lying.
I got here in
Really?
2007.
Oh,
That's
shit.
crazy.
That
Bro,
must be old.
oversized tees, like our shirts were like airbrushed on and shit.
Jean shorts.
Bro, I'm pretty sure I had a
Yeah.
belt that had like an LED on
Well,
it.
that's
Like
funny,
that was a wild ass time.
Soldier Boy actually came
Wild ass
in
time.
during that time, and he had the
Yeah.
glasses and everything. Yeah, so that was a long time ago.
I think I actually won a shirt from B95 at that time too.
Did you?
From the pack. Yeah, it was like signed by them.
Ah, that's sick.
From Lil B.
Oh,
Yeah, uh-huh.
shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim, you've been riding with us for a long
been a
time.
minute. Been a
I
minute,
appreciate
yeah.
that. But yeah, it's to know that like people like you guys are like, God damn.
You have winners. I did win.
It feels crazy.
Oh, I'm 26. So,
Look,
That's still
yeah.
baby though.
I'm, honestly, like I said, I'm not. It's not that I'm old. I just feel old because I've been in this game for so long. But the truth is, like I grew up with you guys, so I don't feel that old. I fuck around when I say that. But so it wasn't really scripted. It was more of a show prep, which still happens now, right? You have to know. You have to have a plan before you go on air. So we would do this whole thing where we still do this. Like, this is what we're going to talk about. The topics we're going to hit. Sometimes news breaks while we're on, so we do those things too. We'd adjust. But back then it was like, all right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to talk about this, and you're going to be totally against it. I'm like, damn, even if I feel like maybe not, no. So like I couldn't do these things, and that's because at the time that's how my program director felt like it had to be ran. And I can't say it sucked because it fucking was successful.
That
shit
They
worked.
Were,
Hey.
they were number one before I got there, and then they continued because they followed this recipe.
formula, yeah,
That
that should be
formula
working.
worked for them for very long. And then when they left, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, damn, I hated all this shit that they made me do. like to fake it, but that worked at the time. Now, how the fuck am I gonna do it? Because I don't want to be that. I want to be this person that people like more. I want to be this person that like I could show my personality. I can
more relatable.
have an
like
opinion.
when people meet you, there's no like difference between who you are and who you are on radio.
That part, right? So you like, I don't have to be like, yeah, fuck men, sometimes, but I don't have to be like fuck men at all times. I could be myself, and again, some are gonna agree, some are gonna disagree, but that's the beauty of entertainment,
And then what year was it when they left, and then you stepped into the leadership role?
Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to say like 2013. 2013 they left. Yeah, and since then, right? How many years is that now?
10 years.
Yeah.
Damn, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, since they left. So when I went on, the beginning was hard, but like trial and error, right? Something's gonna work, something's not, and we just figured it out. And I also, I gotta give myself credit with that too, because it wasn't like I'm like, oh, I lost every fan. There were so many people that showed love and support. Obviously, thank you to the fans and the listeners, because they were split, right? They're like, damn, we like these guys, but we like her too. We like these guys, but man, we like her too. So they would go back and forth. And I would have a lot of people that would say, I love listening to you. I listened to you from this to that time, but I wish you guys were back together, blah, blah, blah. That happened. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was meant for all of us to go that way. Shit happens for a reason. I know it's like cliche to say that, but it really does happen for a reason.
How much control do you have in that situation, like as an artist? Like whether if you want to keep the band together like that, do you have any control there, or is it kind of just like the whole radio station they said? No,
definitely not. Because the thing is, you're still working under a corporation. You're under someone else, right? So the plan was to continue on with me, right? But they fired them. So when someone gets fired, it's like any job. You just get fired, right? And so from one day to the next, you're like, oh shit, okay. They're not going to tell you, hey, tomorrow we're going to fire this person. We learned that day. We literally learned that day. So yeah, but radio is very that cutthroat. Like, to be honest, my job isn't promised tomorrow. That's why we do what we do. We try to do our best in every way possible. That's why I think like a lot of people take it for granted and eventually get cut. But I really do love this shit. I love it for so many reasons, right? It feeds my family, of course. But I also feel like I was meant to make people feel good. I was meant to make people laugh, When I was in radio, younger age, and I had my first child, it wasn't planned, right? So I became a single mom. And then at that point, I was like, damn, I can't be a single mom on the radio. Like, this looks bad. Because, again, women weren't prominent in this industry. Still not. But then I was like, damn, I can't. I'm never going to make it. I stayed, right? I went through that, and I went through abuse. I had domestic violence situation happen. I had to entertain while my mind and body was just not there.
Went through all that shit.
Went through all that shit, right?
Smile on the face. Dealing with it.
But that's the beauty of radio, because they can't see me, right? Mm-hmm. So there was times where I would literally be entertaining someone else's story, talking about them, and great happy laughs or whatever. And literally, as soon as the mic would go off, I would go to the other room to cry. Like, it was that bad. Gosh. Like, because I was going through it, right? And my co-hosts were very supportive, but shit like that happens, I feel like, with everyone, right? If you can't tell me you've never had a situation where you were working somewhere and then some shit happened at home, family, whatever, and you had to go back to work.
We're doing this shit right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Make it all sad. It's going on right now.
Yeah, it's real thing. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, and I feel like it's pretty cool that you share that, because I feel like sometimes people, well, especially like as a listener, you kind of take that for granted. You kind of forget that the entertainers and the artists, like, they do have a life. So
like they're human.
Like they're human. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the persona, like every celebrity, right? I mean, a lot of celebrities talk when I hear them on podcasts where they talk about like taking pictures right in public, where sometimes they don't want to because they're with the family. So same thing with like you. I feel like the whole persona is celebrities, people on the radio like yourself are supposed to have this perfect life when reality, it's not. Everyone's like a normal person.
No, that's why, honestly, before radio, I kind of would have said the same. I would agree with the majority. I would be like, man, you signed up for this. Why don't you take pictures, right? Because that's what everyone thinks. Mm-hmm. But, like, knowing these celebrities and getting to meet them, talking to them, like, these are, like, humans. It's there's no other way to describe it, but, like, when I had my first interview, I interviewed Kendrick Lamar. Was actually my first artist that I ever.
Damn, that's
insane. That's such a fire-ass interview.
Like,
that's crazy.
2008.
Oh shit!
Maybe?
He was still. He was that. That's when he was
like K-Dot at that time.
He was so like, yeah, K-Dot still. Yeah. And that was my first interview, but at that point, I actually became a fan after I interviewed him, right? But it's crazy because they are just people that are trying to also survive, feed their family while doing something they love. So once I realized that and I got to meet these celebrities, you know, Bruno Mars, same thing. I met him back before he even fully blew up, like right before he fully blew up, right? He was entertaining, I forgot even where, but we had a talk, and then everything came out in the news. He blew up, was this big artist, fucking huge, and then it came out in the news that he got caught doing coke in the bathroom or something. And I remember thinking to myself,
I remember that story too.
Remember that? Yeah. And they almost tried to cancel, like, completely, like, oh, he's a fuck face. But it's like, dude, you know, he was going through a lot. He had bills he had to pay that he couldn't pay. Just because when someone makes it doesn't mean they're rich.
Yeah, no,
right? So you don't know these things until either you are compassionate and you think like, damn, reality is they probably don't have their shit together, or you are like me, like I experienced, you know, talking to these artists and knowing like, damn, they're just regular people, they just do some dope shit.
Hey guys, quick break in between the pod today to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Fat Al's Bar and Grill, right here in Sanger, California. I'm telling you guys, man, they have over 20 beers on tap. And if you're anything like me, man, where you're not too much of a beer fan and you want just a classic margarita, classic fruity drink, they have that too, man. Everything from A to Z to have a good time, have a good night, throughout the week, throughout the weekend. Make sure you have a stop at Fat Al's. The place to be.
But have you ever been starstruck by any of these celebrities? Has there been like one person or a couple that just like starstruck right off the bat?
Honestly, I want to say
Rihanna.
No, I want to say Ariana Grande probably.
Okay.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
She
Ariana.
is huge, though.
But you know what? So every artist I meet, I'm a little starstruck. I'm not gonna say I'm not, because I'm like, it's so cool to know your fucking brain outside of entertainment, you know. But Ariana, she's very shy in real life. She's really shy, and so when people see these videos of her like licking the donuts and like now she's a bitch, right? And it's like, damn, no, because when I met her, she really was shy. So it's like when she stays away, it's because she is a shy person. Beyonce, you know, Beyonce is one of the most shy people ever, and look how dope and badass she is,
just
right?
turns it on when she goes on stage.
Turns it on.
That's crazy.
There was a whole
Exactly.
show about her too,
know
Swarm,
that.
from Childish Gambino, about like people like killing for her, basically the Beehive or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, it's crazy. So that I feel like that comes from the pressure, right? She has this pressure of like always being perfect. If you're not perfect, they're gonna call you out on it. Especially with social media, it like destroys people. It really does. And I feel like people don't realize, again, these people are just fucking normal and just trying to, you know, make it doing something that they love. Like for instance, this podcast. Say you blew up and you're like on Barstool, right? You got this crazy contract. You think you're gonna get money from one day to another? No, right? There's still shit that gets paid, and then unfortunately, when you work under other people, it's different type of cuts you get. It's a whole different aspect behind that. And so to me, I feel like even with radio, people always say, "Oh, you gotta be rich." Like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm good, but I'm not rich. You know, and that's the thing. I worked in LA for a little bit. Eventually, my goal is to eventually leave. I love where I'm from, but everyone's like, oh, you work in LA, now you for sure made it, you rich. And it doesn't work like that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, again,
Is there a difference in bag though from over there to here?
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like in every which way.
No, that was an easy answer.
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Yeah,
She's like, fuck yeah.
One day to another. Let me tell you. And again, the grass isn't always green on the other side, right? There's still the same things that apply here in entertainment apply over there, everywhere. You're just in a bigger market. But also that comes with cost of living, right? So you gotta like consider that too. So yeah, you get paid more, but do you see how fucking expensive it is to live in LA? So it's a lot that goes behind it, but I love this. You know, I feel like if there's one advice I can give to anyone who wants to, you know, embark in their dream or, you know, succeed, whatever they're doing. Some people aspire to be great fucking therapists. Like, shout out to those people, you know, because they're changing the world. They're helping people. They're doing things. So in any sort of thing that you do in life, I feel like you have to know going into it, you're going to fail, but those fails easily become lessons. Like you can easily learn from them. When I had my first child, and I'm gonna put myself under the bus. When I had my first child, it wasn't planned, right? I got pregnant. I became a single mom by choice, but because of my situation. Mm-hmm. Second time I did it, I ain't never doing that shit again. Psych. I had another fucking baby, right? Also not planned. Well, it was a little planned, but ended up in domestic violence in that situation. So what am I gonna do? In my head, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to be a mother of 2 baby daddies. Like, I'm just that girl. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just not going to fucking do that again for real this time. And I did. Like, years later, I never had a kid again because I was like, all right, I fucked up both those times. I also allowed these men to control me or try to control me, right? They didn't agree with what I did in this business, which is another side of being in radio or entertainment period that sucks, because you have to have the right partner. And that's with anything, but like in entertainment, speaking for myself and people that I know.
Go into that. What do you mean by that? Like, because like, is it kind of the same thing, like separating the art from the artist type of thing, but like at home or what?
Kind of, and it just depends. Boundaries is definitely important when it comes to, you know, any sort of relationship, of course. But when you're an entertainer, right, and you got to see other people and talk to other people, your partner has to understand what your role is, right? Your role is to make people happy too. Your job is to continue to please people even off work, right? You're not on air anymore or whatever. They have to be okay with people come up to you and say, hey, I listened to you, let me take a picture with you. I literally dated people that hated that, and they weren't okay with it. I literally was in a situation where someone kept it real with me. He was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I really like this, like I really vibe with you, but I can't take that. Like,
you feel that's a masculinity thing where like they
oh yeah,
like the inferior?
Insecure, huh? Because they see you getting attention.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And you know, one of the guys, he was really honest with me. He's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's just very, like, it feels like I don't have you, like the world has you, and I just don't like that. And he's like, yeah, maybe it's selfish, but it is what it is. I was like, fuck, I agree with you. It can be
It's
that.
not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not.
You just give them a rundown. First date, like, look.
That's exactly what I fucking did.
This is what
okay?
you should expect.
That's exactly what I did.
I don't want to hear this shit in 2 weeks.
This is what to expect.
And that's exactly what I did.
If
So
you can't handle this.
no, but see,
bye.
what did I say? When you fucking fail, you should learn from your lessons. Instead of seeing, I was like, oh, I fucked up, I failed. Learn from that. Whatever it is. I've had bad interviews. I've had bad days on the radio. I've had bad interviews with just regular people. Like, I'm talking to businesses, you know. I've had really fucked up moments, and then I go home and I'm like, fuck, I'm stupid, I'm fucking dumb, I'm pissed the fuck off.
That's
and then
me.
once I get over that, I'm like, all right, but what the fuck can I do right? Or I gotta prepare better, you know, or I gotta really have a plan when I go into this, or you know, that didn't work, let me try it this way. You know, you have to find those things, because when you don't, it really fucks with you, and that's what comes depression and that anger, and then like feeling like defeated almost, you know. So yeah, but
It's like high expectations whenever you go into it, right?
yes, and every time too, you know, people look at you and they're like, oh, you have to know what you're doing, or like, oh, you have to know what you're gonna do today, because it's you, like, you tell us what. It's like, no, like, for instance, 9 times out of 10, I'm interviewing people. You guys are interviewing me, right? We're talking and having this conversation. It's very, very different dynamic, but like, you need to know that I don't have my shit together at all times, right? But when I just to wrap up the story about my baby daddies, I learned from that. So what did you said? You should go into it, and I did. I would go into a relationship. All right, before we do anything, before we talk any further, before we go on another date, you need to know this is what it comes with. I am gonna get recognized. If I post you, people are gonna recognize you. If you're out with me, people are gonna eventually attach us two together, and now you're fucked. You're fucked if you don't like this, you know. So I had to do that, and then I ended up in a relationship with someone from back home in LA. And he ended up moving here, and we've been together 11 years, and that's because he understands this, you know. And also, he doesn't really like the entertainment or being in the spotlight, but he gets what I do. In the beginning, it was fucking struggle, because I was like, hey, you said you got this, and it was like, oh, but I didn't know it was this bad. Like, again, this is coming from someone in LA who didn't know who Carmen was, you know, here. So yeah, it's you got to have a partner.
That's interesting perspective though, like, coming in, you're like, oh shit, you're like a superstar, you know.
Like, it ain't just the comments and people aren't behind.
Those
the
aren't just
computers.
hard eyes online. That shit's in real life.
Yeah. And then, you know, there's also boundaries that you have to set with people, right? Like listeners, followers, and eventually as your platform grows, because I do believe your platform has a lot of potential. When your platform grows, you are going to have to set boundaries, right? If someone comes to you and tells you, you know, I I feel like I deserve to be on your show because I've this and that. And you're like, no, well, you can't. And they're like, man, fuck you and fuck your show, blah, blah. You have to be like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, what?
Danny?
Who did it? They did it to you already? Oh, the backhand? No, you have to. You have to.
That's why we have Nate. Nate. No one's gonna mess with Nate.
So
no
Nate, you're the bodyguard?
I am? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
actually-
me. I'm the one
No,
that
Biggie is. That's what
Oh,
we-
you know what it is? They're tag teaming. Because do they know each other more than you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked up.
I know. That's how it. See, you were talking
Yeah.
about hazing earlier, and I was like,
Yeah.
damn, if only I brought up what these guys do to me.
See?
Fuck.
See,
You guys
you're the
wouldn't wanna know.
intern.
Yeah, I'm the intern, basically.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, that's a good dynamic. Like, hey, I don't know. Anyway.
Actually, on that story, we had him do like a commercial yesterday where he actually had to take like a couple hits to
You-
the
you
jaw.
see
Bro, that shit was a
See?
real ass.
Jordan?
See,
That was a real ass
You know,
hit
when
I
he's like,
took,
they're
by
doing
the
like,
way.
oh, Michael B. Jordan actually
Real
got
hit.
hit in this scene of Creed.
Oh, yes.
You know, he did the
and
same
it
thing.
proved that it
So
wasn't.
we did one yesterday with
Aw, see, there
Mark
you are,
Castro.
intern.
Yeah.
Wait, he did
Aw.
Yeah, I'm
really
doing the
fucking
intern
good, though.
work.
He did really good. He did really good.
Well, look, again, entertainment, right? You have to entertain. So he took one for the team. Technically, he's probably the lead. I'm just saying. I'm
That's
just
what I'm
kidding.
saying. That's why I'm on this side. They're on that side.
No,
He's in it.
see?
He's in it.
But yeah, that's how. I mean, again,
funny.
in entertainment, you got to find yourself. But you also, again, remember to set boundaries. Because man, back in the day, I didn't. Like, I did anything everyone wanted. You want me to host, and it'll be like just a bad look on to do a certain, business or a club. And then I was saying yes to everything, not only for money, but I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. That's fucking cool. I didn't really know Fresno either. So they're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't work with those people. Or maybe you shouldn't do that, And I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that I can say no at one. And I didn't know that I could, have choices to be like, this just doesn't work for me. And that's the same thing I do with, like, when I'm on air endorsing a certain thing. For instance, I worked with you guys on a different note, right?
Yeah.
And that's because, what did I say? My pops grew up with this. I trust this. I don't know if you guys talk about that type of life. Do you?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
actually how we. Yeah, you can tell them how we met.
Yeah,
for sure.
we played this.
Yeah. So we basically, the way we met was we worked an endorsement, right? So I was an endorser for the company they work for, which is
Academy West Insurance,
Academy
baby.
West Insurance.
Yeah. And so the reason why I was familiar with them was because they were my dad's insurance, still are, actually, I think, I don't know. But yeah, for a long time. And then when I got my first car here, like I was with you guys, because that was his insurance, so he put me on or whatever. So that's why I was very familiar. I was like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. And the thing is, if there was another insurance that was coming up against you guys, I'm going to take the one I get. The one I connect with, the one I feel like, these people can connect with the city or whatever the fuck. So you do have to make those choices on your own. And nobody taught me the ropes in the beginning. Again, I was saying yes to everything, things that I'm ashamed of, things I've done that I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have connected myself with that. But you live and you learn, But do remember to set boundaries with
So is that
everyone.
one of the things you get a choice on, like the endorsements you do? Because I
Yeah.
know obviously we talked about the host, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff you don't get a choice on. So
Yeah.
what's some stuff you do get choice on, and then other stuff you don't?
So, okay, there are some events that come with iHeart that you have to, right? That I would have to promote. But honestly, a lot of the shit that we do is hella dope, so you wouldn't want to say no anyway. And it's also big. Like, we're talking about a big corporation. iHeart is huge. It's so massive. It does so much. The reason why I've never left iHeart is for that, because I've always wanted to grow within the company and grow, and that's why I ended up in LA eventually. But it's such a big company that you don't want to say no to those things anyway. There's also opportunities, right? There's other opportunities, like if you end up on TV, you can end up working with a big artist, someone that's going to mentor you, that's going to take you in. So although you don't really have a choice, it's not a bad thing when it comes to those things. Now, I don't know. It could be
good
different.
exposure.
Exactly, because it could be different for anything else. If it's another job, I mean, I really wouldn't know, because my ass was been in radio since 2006, 5. So I graduated in 2005. And by the second semester of college, I was already hired as an intern. So again, I really didn't live much, but I did do radio and worked at Bank of America. I did radio and worked at Cricket, because
Oh,
it
shit.
wasn't paying me
That's
before.
crazy.
Isn't that
hustle.
crazy? So it's crazy because I would be social media wasn't that popular, but I was working and people were like, hey, aren't you the girl from the radio? I'm like, yeah. And I'd be like, damn, this is embarrassing. But I was like, fuck it. I had to pay bills, So I had 2 jobs, and it was radio and this, radio and that. And then when I made it to the morning show, different story,
That's crazy, because people were at that point, really, there was not a whole, like you said, social media wasn't big, so people
Yeah,
were recognizing
for
you
my
just
voice.
based on the voice.
Yeah. I would actually go, I remember I had a couple times, still actually happens at Starbucks and stuff, but I went to Jack in the Box that I used to work for, and they're like, is this Carmen? I'm like, yeah. And then when I left, I was like, when I got to the window, I was like, do you know, like, this was like my first job here. I actually worked at that Jack in the Box too, right? So when I first got to Sanger/Fresno, that was my first job, and I actually killed it on the fucking monitor thing. And then I was like, damn, maybe radio is for me. Because they were like, oh, Carmen, put Carmen on the what the fuck is it called? The drive-through. Put Carmen on drive-through. I was so good at it just because I was very talkative. I was like, you ever have those drive-through people that you're like, they're fucking cool. Like, like they'll give you extra sauces. Yeah. That was me. Like, totally. That was so fucking fun. Like, I loved it. And then I was like, damn. Like, they think they're hyping me up. My coworkers here are hyping me up, thinking it's so fucking cool. So maybe there's something to it. And then eventually, like I said, when radio came up, I was like, oh shit, maybe this is meant to be. And even though, again, I saw my dad live this life his whole life, he just didn't want me to do radio. He never wanted me. He was like, nah, it's not for women. It's not for women. And specifically because of what he saw, not because like he
behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, it was it's tough. He's like, it's tough love. He's like, you're gonna fail and you're gonna succeed. And when you succeed, you're gonna think, oh, I got this, and you may not. And then I was like, Dad, like I got this. And you know, many times I fucking cried. I've fucking been mad at myself. But again, you live and you learn, you know?
You know, it's funny. Right now you said we were talking about working with us and the whole topic of living and learning. So at the time when we first worked, you were actually one of like our first.
The first.
You're right. You were
talking about this earlier today.
Like, what was it called? Like endorsement. So like for us, we had never been in charge of like running a campaign, right? So we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
You know, I remember that. I remember you guys were like, so what do we do? And then I was like,
I kind of remember you guys had no clue what you were doing.
We didn't have a fucking film crew. We didn't have lights. We literally had our iPhones. And then Matt, shout out to Matt. You know, he just fucking threw a project on us, and we're like,
shout out Matt. You believed in them, huh?
Yeah, he did. You know. And, you know, lo and behold, like, fast forward. And you know what? We thought it was a shit show because we had some – I don't know if you remember. We went to the location off of Cedar and Dakota, right there by the Vallarta, and there was a fucking shooting.
It was a shit show.
There was a fucking shooting.
I totally remember.
In the middle of the shoot.
Yeah. And you're like, do we still film?
And we're like, fuck,
do we not?
We'll film the inside portion for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was wild. But I do remember you guys, though, not having the confidence that you have now. Like, it's a big difference. Like, and it's cool to see because I remember you guys were like, I don't know, you want to do it or do you record? And then like, oh yeah, so do I. I'll just do this part. I'll just do it. And like you guys,
iPhone days?
Dude, probably
iPhone.
So
yeah, we didn't have
Nate,
cameras
he got
at
to
all.
witness like now we have the whole production
Yeah.
team. We did the thing with Mark Castro and he was
like
in it.
4 cameras.
So yeah, he got
lights.
to experience like a couple of years of like like kind of like when you took the lead role. You know, we went through that stuff.
Yeah.
So
But
he
I
got to
always knew
experience
it though.
that.
Remember, I told you guys, I was like, you guys are fucking good at what you do.
Yeah,
like even with iPhone fucking roll, you guys knew what the fuck you were doing, but you just didn't know how to apply it.
Yeah.
You know. And then the other thing too is you're both very good at speaking and making that eye contact, but also finding ways to be relatable, you know? So then
Thank
what
you.
happened was you guys were like, we don't need to endorse her anymore. Fuck her. We got this.
Damn.
They kicked me
Hey,
out.
that-
I'm
hey,
just
we
kidding,
don't
I'm
need
just
you no
kidding.
more.
I'm just
Matt,
kidding.
that was
no.
towards you, Matt.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but it was actually like, it was cool to see that, you know, because it was the first time with this. And I was like, all right, this is normally how I do it. You know, we don't have to do it this way, but you're like, fuck it. You know what you're doing. I was like, fuck, now you know that I didn't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? not always do I know what I'm doing. But again, you live and you learn. And so at the time that was happening, you guys were thinking about doing stuff. You were trying to work things out, and then you stayed consistent. Consistency is so important. I know everybody says that, but like you really do have to be consistent.
Yeah, it does sound cliche, but I mean, kind of the way to look at it, we just kept on fucking up, you know? Because after that, we had a meeting and we just looked at each other like, fuck, dude, like.
We were kind of like upset too. We're like, damn, bro, we had no idea. It was kind of awkward. We didn't know what to do. We were super nervous to meet you too the first time. We're like,
no,
we
it
know what
was-
to do.
That's
and-
celebrity starstruck, huh?
Stop.
It is, really.
You know,
dude,
That was
because
me
you grew
coming
up
in
the
today, too. I was
radio,
like,
and,
shit.
well, radio was like the biggest shit for the longest time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we're like, fuck.
And Matt
Yeah.
called us too. Matt was just like, hey, dude, I got an endorsement with Carmen for B95. We're like, bro, the one like for B95? He's like, yeah, you guys will figure it out. Just do what you guys do.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
see,
just-
he believed in you guys though.
Yeah.
And the
No
thing is,
instruction.
No, they really didn't. But I thought it was so dope because like seeing you guys and watching your growth and watching your numbers go up, like seeing that, I'm like, see, you guys just had to figure it out,
Yeah.
you know. But the time that you met me, I tried my best to not give you the impression of like you guys ain't got your shit together, right? I was like,
you know, you were really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you did because actually from that we learned a lot. We like took a lot of like, oh shit, okay. So like, oh, this is usually how you do it, and we're like, all right, cool, that's how we really
again,
do it.
theater of the mind, right?
Yeah.
Even like when you're doing stuff on social media, now you guys know how to entertain, which is so dope. But again, you guys had it. You just were a little intimidated.
I think it was even too like the takes, right? Like for us, we did like the same take. It could be like one line.
It was so
20
cute.
times.
Yeah. It was so cute.
Dude, and then she came in. I mean, she was just like one. We're like, all right, cool. What? That was fast.
You're like, is it my turn already? I'm still
I'm
reading
trying
my
to
line.
memorize.
Let me tell you, that happens a lot even now. Like, so when that happened, I wasn't looking at you guys like, man, they ain't got their shit together. I was like, it was just another day for me because I'm telling you, you guys think everything is like perfectly done, but like in radio, there's times where we're on air, right? And I'll ask CK or he'll ask me something, and he'll be like, right? And I'll be like, yeah. And he's looking at, mind you, nobody can see us, right?
Gotta
I'm
improv
like,
that shit.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it was going down about, and at the time I'm like searching Google, whatever it is, the topic that you had that we didn't talk about prior, I had to like scramble for it. So again, it's like trial and error when that shit like that happens, you know? And so you don't always get it right. Another thing too, we had to do live fucking commercials. And we literally live. So we would be in the streets and people would come visit us. And mind you, there's people in front of us, which I'm not used to. Well, we're not used to. I mean, kind of now, but you know, back then it really wasn't a big thing. So they're like in front of us and we had to read this script that we had never seen before. We're endorsed with them, but we had never seen this script. So we have to, if we fuck up, you fuck up. And we fucked up, okay? To the point where we're looking at each other and we're like, it's not just like we both knew it's not just us looking at each other, they're fucking looking too, you know? And like the whole audience is like, and then some of them had their cell phones out, and I'm like, that is so embarrassing. Like we're fucking this commercial up, and we just freestyled it, the rest of it. And
it's tough to do, like when people are watching you to say like, oh, like you say like, oh shit, do it again. You know, it's tough to do that again.
Dude, you ever feel like, because obviously, I mean, you know, you're speaking to a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
We're in the studio, so you don't really get quite to see them.
Yeah.
Is it a lot different when you go live, like, and there's like people in the audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be in front of 10 people doing what I have to do, and I'll still feel intimidated a little bit.
That pressure
That's
gets
crazy.
to you,
It's
huh?
still pressure. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
It does, because if you think about it, when you just had the camera and it was just you talking, you didn't feel as intimidated, right? Because you're like, I could just fucking delete this and nobody see it again.
I don't know. I'd be feeling intimidated a little bit.
Do
I
you?
picture Freddie naked, and it makes my whole day better.
That helps. Yes.
This whole time, Freddie. Right
Does that
now,
really help? I've never
with your
done
hands
that.
up.
No,
naked.
yes. You know the other thing? You know how you catch people? This is like something I was going to share the other day. I was like, this is important. You know how like you see girls, and girls, I mean me too, they're just like, I don't do this a lot though, but when I see it, they'll be like, and it's like music playing in the background. They're looking at the
I know exactly what you're talking about. Why?
Okay, let me tell you. So when you see those girls, right, and then some of them are like, damn, she's fine as fuck.
Same
blah, blah,
fucking
blah.
angle every time.
But we all have angles, first of all. And then the girl like this or whatever, picture them with no fucking makeup on, and it's so funny. Like, picture them with no makeup and no filter. I'm like, girl, you would not be making those faces. You would not be doing that. And I know, because that's why I don't do them anymore. I'm just kidding. Because I'm like, man, that's embarrassing.
I feel like that's like especially on Facebook, like every like out of 10 stories that are loaded up, like every other or every consecutive one's that same shit.
You know, it's a lot of heartbroken
From
women.
one side to the other, and like it's just that little clip.
But
like,
don't, because there's a lot of fucking men that do the same thing.
Let's talk about your thirst trap.
I don't thirst trap.
He's a fucking worst.
I don't
Wait
do
a minute.
that.
Wait a minute. What's this? What was it? Did he have no shirt on or something?
Look, okay,
I
I'll
do
give
not
you this.
thirst
He's
trap.
a personal trainer.
That's
Okay.
And
true.
Like how, you know what, I'm kind of throwing
We gotta just pull up your profile. We gotta let her look at your profile, and then she'll kind of make her
I
assumption.
don't thirst
That's
trap
fine,
though.
yeah.
I don't thirst trap.
What's his
I don't-
profile, guys?
You gotta pull it up.
Do
pull
I
it up.
thirst? I don't.
Let's see. This will tell you if it's thirst trap or not. Let's
Here it
see
is. Thirst trap or not? Like this.
How do you tell if it's a thirst trap?
This
Are we back on? Okay, so I'm looking at his picture, and I definitely
Fuck.
right off the bat just see thirst trap. But also, this is how you know when it's a thirst trap. When 90% of the comments are women, he did his thing. You did your thing.
That's all women though, huh?
That's all women right
all women.
there.
Is that a toxic trait? You think?
I
Like,
know.
like in a guy?
It can if you overdo it. You know, but also
My industry is too.
I was gonna say,
See?
to your defense, you're supposed to do that.
Exactly.
Because how are you gonna get people in and they're like,
See,
man,
they
he's
didn't wanna
always
work out
wearing
with me 20
shirts.
pounds ago, I lost that 20 pounds. They're all like, "Hey, bro,
Oh,
hey,
really?
can I hire you on now?"
Bro, tell the truth,
See?
bro. Tell the truth. You
What's
didn't
the-
want to wake up early.
Ah.
I'm a in the morning
He's
guy.
like, "Hey, I want to
Okay,
work
yeah.
out at 3:30 a.m."
Here we go.
Is that 3 for real?
No,
basically.
Oh.
it was 5. It was 5.
Oh, damn, that is early.
Yeah, what's wrong?
But I
Crackhead
yeah.
ass hours, bro.
I feel like those people.
Boundaries,
Have
bro,
you ever done
boundaries.
that?
What's up?
Have you ever worked out at 5 o'clock in the
I
morning?
work like 5 or 6.
See, okay,
Bro,
that-
when
Oh,
when
that's
I
good.
go with them to the gym, you're asleep
Yeah.
still.
But you go at
Oh.
11, bro. Like you don't wake up till 11. You get to gym at like 12.
I am
or 1.
up before 11.
Oh,
First
okay.
of all,
That is
first at thirst
early,
trap. Now I
though.
sleep in. Thanks, guys. This is how y'all view me.
No, but the thing is, with in your profession, I would say that's accurate. You
have
have
to.
to. But thirst
You
traps
could have
happen
a shirt
both
on
ways.
once in a while, but I mean, that's just me.
Oh,
Because you
right
know what?
now,
That also
overtime.
shows the muscles. Like if you have
Yeah,
your shirt
I
on,
get it.
that does show the muscle. You could do a little bit of both.
Exactly. a little bit of
Actually,
both.
let me see if you have.
But then they
more
asked me to do a
without
commercial
stick-
shirtless yesterday, so come on.
Well,
y'all.
we- well,
Oh no,
y'all
you have
gaslighting.
balance. You have balance.
See?
Yeah, some
Kid in
with,
there.
some without.
Oh.
No, you're good. You're good. So yeah, you know what, intern, you've done a great job. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Sprinkle the kid in there. It's not all thirst trap.
No, it's not. Every now and
Bro.
then, that's how you have to separate. By the way, if you're
The
a
kid, though,
man
the
or a
kid is
woman.
levers, though.
Yeah,
You
one
got-
could argue you use the kids as the
Now
setup,
you're
bro.
just
One-
giving away the secret sauce at this point.
That
For
this
what?
is true. This is true. Honestly, as someone who has more guy friends than girlfriends, and I know I hate like when people say this, 'cause like, oh, but I really did, and that's because I like was totally
See,
a
that's a
tomboy.
red flag.
It
No, but-
is. It actually
just honest,
is.
though.
And the reason why I say it is because I like hear it so much, and I'm like, I don't know,
I don't get
because.
along with girls.
But I've never said that part. I do get along with girls. It's just like, to me, it just feels weird because I kind of was a tomboy growing up. Like I used to love playing like flag football with my neighbors and stuff. So I really was a tomboy. And then when I got into this industry, people were like, oh, she's fine, she's sexy. I'm like, I am? Oh, fuck, let me fucking put on a dress. So then I had to like switch it up, and then now I'm in the middle, but you do have to kind of do
Fit that
thirst
role.
traps.
You gotta fit
You
your
know,
role.
every now and
that's
then
true, though.
you have to
you have to sell the goods. You have to
cute.
sell the goods. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
have no buyers.
Yeah,
The girls
exactly.
are like, look at new shoes. It's an ass pick somehow.
Oh my God,
How
yeah,
the fuck?
I know. But I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of that sometimes too. Like, look at these shoes. Fucking all
these.
look at these.
that angle she was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to do it every now and then. But again, this is entertainment, though. This is what being on social media is.
Yeah.
You're on social media to make people. You're not gonna show your bad parts, although you have. I'm sure you guys have at some point, like, oh, today was a shitty day. But like, you're not gonna show what the fuck happened to you earlier, like
That's
your
true.
light bill came off, or your neighbors shit on your car, or I don't know.
What do you like better? Well, do you like the industry as it is now with like because I feel like now there's like a way bigger component to it, which is like the video part of it, right? Because I feel like now people
Yeah.
see you more, especially if you're in the lead role, as opposed to before where it was just completely behind the the studio door and you're just on the air. What do you like better? Do you like the new style? Or
I
do you
like
like
both.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Like, how there's someone who's like, oh man, this destroyed the world, or like hip hop heads are like, oh, old hip hop is better. What the fuck is this trash? I am in
Hell no.
between. Like I like growth. Obviously, I like seeing growth in every part of life, right? Except when I get too fucking old. But when it comes to like growth in social media world, when I first started, like I said, MySpace was such a big thing, and it was so cool, right? We all wanted to be on this fucking platform.
That fucking layout. I
On the wall.
was fucking coding back then.
Coding, right?
Yeah,
I
that shit was real.
I was learning that shit in class. I was like, how do you do this? Like on my computer class, I was like, how do you learn? Like, how do you do this? How do you add this to your? But that was then, right? And then when you're like now, you're like, oh man, and you see all these people making money like on social media just for fucking being them, or like pretending to be themselves, which is not, again, theater of the mind,
Yeah.
right? But like seeing that, I'm like, damn, I can't even hate on it, because if that was me in this year and I'm just getting into it and I'm young, I probably would be looking at that like, yeah, I want that lifestyle,
Yeah.
or I want to do that, or I want to do this. But with I think social media, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because at the same time that everything seems so cool and so positive, let's be honest, there's so much fucking negativity, right? Like, we're so numb to a lot of things now that when people like pass away, they fucking post the person dead on the ground or some shit like that. Like, a lot of people,
Or even the comments. Those
That is
fucking
crazy.
bot comments be so
Comments.
wild. Or just regular comments. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I feel like that's another thing too. Like with social media, it's like you have all these negative people. Like, okay, back then, if someone hated what I fucking did, I wouldn't know till like 2 weeks later, because they come up to me and be like, bitch, you were whack, or whatever, right? But on social media, if I say
Instant.
something they don't like, they'll go find me on social media and be like, you fucking whack.
On a burner
Do you
ass
get,
account.
do you get a
Yeah.
lot
No
of DMs like
pictures.
that? Like fucking wild DMs and type of shit? No?
No, because they gotta check themselves, you know.
Yeah.
I did have one time. I had a girl come up to me. Okay, this is at a woman empowerment event, and it was a Girls World Expo where I'm like talking to these young girls. I'm like, I have a line, not to toot my horn, but I had a line of these little girls, you know, little by, I mean like 14, 15, 16, 17. They were like in line to meet me to take pictures and sign, right? So I'm like signing whatever, and then this lady literally waited the whole fucking time to come and tell me, hey, do you know that you said this on the radio and that's not how you say it properly?
You're capping.
Yeah. I said, okay, I still remember. She said, I said, don't you go nowhere. Like I said, I don't know. I was in the mix probably in my fucking vibe, right? And I was like, oh, we're going to be right back after this. Don't you go nowhere. Boom. I like went to commercials. She said, you said nowhere. You should have said, don't you go anywhere. And I was like,
how do you respond to that?
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? How the fuck did you?
I was like, all right, I could either like be petty and a bitch back, or I could just handle it, you know, appropriately, because there are these little girls around me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was like, did you really wait in line to tell me that? And she was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's important. You're teaching the youth how to speak lingo like this and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no. I'm not raising kids, you know, like they're raising themselves. It's the parents' job to do that. My job is to entertain and not to be politically correct in any part of my life when it comes to entertainment.
Insane.
Yeah.
Was she white? Be for real.
No, she was actually Latina, which was very disappointing because when she went to say that, she was like, she made it seem like I needed to make sure I shit on you. It was that energy that she gave. Like,
she had to like go out of her way.
The fact that she waited in line, right? And then
that's
I
pretty
said,
petty. That's fucking petty.
When I said, all right, listen, so you got that out of the way. Are you done? She's like, can we take a picture? I was like, so you're here to tell me all this shit. You try to correct me. You came down here to fucking kill the energy when you see I'm happy to see these people. And now you want to take a picture?
Did you take it? You took it?
I did.
You took the picture though. Is that one of those things you're like, damn?
I regret it because I was like, no, I should have been like, you can fucking go. And I had like my, not security, but they were there, you know, to protect me.
See, if I was a security at that time,
so
should have been gone.
They would've stepped in.
Like, take this hoe
Done.
off. Just
Easy.
kidding. But then I was like, you know, I don't want it to, my thing is, I didn't want the little girls to feel like it was any bad energy. And there was adults too, but I just like, I don't want anybody to feel that there was anything negative here.
Took the high road.
And they didn't know us. So I went on, she like left, and I was like, I wonder, because I said a couple things to her that made her, I'm sure, think about it, because I left her stumped a little bit, like I shouldn't have said this, you know, because you could tell she kind of was backtracking. And when I said, like, I'm not here to raise your fucking kids, you raise your fucking kids. I'm here to talk how the fuck I want to, because this is my job and this I get paid for it, you know. So when that happened, like, I was like, I got to say what I wanted out of that. I don't need the fucking world to be like, take this bitch out of here, you know, like, no. And then I also had another girl like at a club one time, and that day I did tell her to meet me outside, and that's when I said,
wait, so
no,
I feel like you skipped the
no, because I don't want to get into
just
detail with
straight to
that,
it.
but I did want to say I regretted it later. I was like, that's so unprofessional
What
of
club?
me.
meet me the fuck outside.
It's not even, doesn't exist anymore. It was I think it was called Fajitas.
Gotcha. Okay.
But anyway, basically, she didn't win a big Dodger giveaway that I had because she didn't fucking write her name right. You're gonna enter a contest. And you're
Can't
gonna
you
put your
spell your
fucking
fucking name
name.
right? Yeah, that's
no,
pretty
it's not
fucking-
that she didn't spell it right. She wrote it like she wrote it with her fucking toes or something. It was just like bad writing. So I couldn't read it, but I said the first and last name a couple times, and I was like, all right, going once. I gave all of them a fair chance. Like, going once, going twice. All right, here we go. And I'm gonna go to the next person. Went to the next person. The person won it. Congratulations, whatever. Maybe like 10 minutes after we did the whole congratulations, she came up and was like, hey, were you looking for blah, blah, blah? And I was like, maybe. What's your phone number? So I got her phone number, and it was that match. And she's like, so you're telling me I would have won? I said, bitch, you could have came when I gave you more than enough time if you thought this could have been my name. So
Slow
we
feet
went back
don't
and
eat.
forth for a minute, and then I was like, I could either have you kicked out or we can meet outside. So you tell me. And she was like, bitch, please, blah, blah, blah. I was like, look, I'm going to let you stay. And then the friends around there were like, please, she's just drunk. She's whatever. I'm like, oh,
She
whatever.
don't want to fucking smoke, huh? She
Yeah.
don't
So,
want
and then at that time, I regretted it because I was like, and this was again like kind of early on in my career. I was like, that's not how you handle situations. I mean, if she would have said something worse or whatever, like about my family or something, then it's more personal. But this had nothing to do with me, and that was me being ghetto.
I don't know. They be jumping people on no jumper. And that should be
They
poppin'.
do, though. They do. No, and that's the thing. Like, I don't ever want to be ghetto. I just want to be myself. And if sometimes it's a little ghetto, it's okay.
It's Fresno, though.
I know. No, but the thing is, like, I don't ever want that. I don't like negative energy. Like, I love good vibes, happy, and especially, like, my job is to make people feel good, you know, like, and even if I feel shitty at home, I'm like, damn, that was fun. All right, let me get back to reality, you know?
Yeah.
It's still enjoying that moment. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't ask people to go outside.
Do you ever feel like being in the public eye, you have to like in that scenario, right? Like you have to, it affects your decisions because you have to upkeep like a certain amount of.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes. And the thing is, I shouldn't have to, you know, like it's just certain, you know, certain things that make you feel a little insecure about something or like, like there are certain situations where, I don't want to be seen because I have like no makeup on. I'm in my fucking PJs and I had to make a run to CVS or something. Like I don't want to be seen, but like to me at the end of the day, like I had one guy call me out one time because he saw me at a gas station here in Sanger, and he literally went after he saw me, I guess, on Twitter and was like, I just saw Carmen looking raggedy as hell at the gas station.
How did you find that
Damn.
tweet?
No, he literally
Tag.
tweeted me
Oh,
right
he added
after.
you.
Yes.
He added too.
fuck.
Yeah. He's like, I just saw at Carmen on air, and I was like, and you want me to go in fucking heels and a dress? I was mad at that point because I was like, first of all, I didn't look bad. I don't look bad without makeup. So no matter how much you say that, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
I'll be going out in Walmart,
Yeah.
sweats. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, because you shouldn't, you know? Like, and when I see people there, like, in sweats, I'm like, I'm not looking at them any different. Like, fuck, you're probably tired. You know, you probably don't even want to be at
I've never
fucking
seen
I'm
you
Walmart.
with
probably
your
just picking
waves
up
not done,
diapers
bro.
and shit. Huh?
I've never seen you with your waves.
Oh,
not
so you're
done, bro.
saying the intern is all talk.
He's all tired.
So he's basically
His
trying to
his
humble
waves,
himself.
His beard's done all the time.
Bro, when we
see.
don't have pods, like I'm not getting haircuts. My
No,
shit's-
because
Yeah,
I was
just-
going to say, like, do you have makeup on?
No, do I look like I have makeup on?
Yeah.
No, I swear. Look
Swear to God.
Rub that shit off.
Take him swimming.
It's a filter. No,
Take off the
guys,
makeup.
this shit's a filter. It's
No,
all.
see, yeah, he got good skin even. Yeah, that's crazy. I thought it was just on Instagram, but I saw it in real life.
He poured water on me yesterday, literally all over my body,
Did-
You gotta give
sexually.
context to that. You can't just say.
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
Yeah.
what'd you
Danny,
guys,
like,
Danny,
sex-
you guys, so
Danny
far,
sexually
it sounds
poured
like you
water
guys have
over
been
me.
fucking
Yeah,
with this guy for a long time.
And Danny was like, and you
let's
did
give
it so good. You were like,
context,
I
bro.
felt like you've put water on people like that before.
Dude,
It's so
okay,
nice.
so we're filming
Sexually
it's a
minded.
boxing scene. So he's
Yeah.
like the poser boxer. He's like the other boxer, right? So it's 12th round. We gotta make it like he's sweating.
It's like, so you've seen Rocky,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that's not real fucking sweat, you know.
he was
put
like
Yeah,
bird
yeah.
feeding in his mouth, spitting it on me to get the water
Oh,
sprays.
that's a good technique,
It was
though.
hot. They're trying to laugh it off, but you know it's true. It's fine.
We're definitely laughing it off.
But it's
a
okay,
little.
because that's the thing, though, too. That's not, on a serious tip with that, it's not even a bad thing. Like, I was, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times I put myself in that position to be.
Do you do
'cause
that
I
to
like
people now, though?
Huh?
Do you do that to? Do you have somebody you do that to now? Like where like they're kind of like your intern.
Yo, you do have
You
an
have to
intern.
have one.
Who
Oh,
do
yeah,
you
I
make
did
eat
have
goldfish?
that. Oh, yeah.
Donut runs.
Definitely do. I had those people because I was like, fuck that. If I live that, you have to live that too. But I never
That's
mistreated
why
them.
you said that taking the fun away. You just want other people to go through that
No,
shit.
no, but here's the thing.
Well,
That's what you
yeah.
hey, y'all gotta eat
You
them
gotta earn your
goldfish
stripes.
too.
You
That's
gotta
true.
earn your stripes.
No, well, the thing about that is that
said
when
at least an
when it
earthworm.
was my time, right? Some shit.
You gotta
a
eat
fucking-
some
A
shit, that's
cockroach. When it was my turn to have interns, I knew one thing though, because you know they always say, 2 Chainz once said, never.
Well, we're gonna quote
The great 2
2 Chainz.
Chainz.
Right now.
Hey,
We're gonna
he's-
quote 2 Chainz. Go ahead.
Yeah, the great 2 Chainz. He said, and this was in an interview, I think I forgot, but it always stuck with me. He said, never treat an intern or an employee like shit because they can one day be your CEOs, right? Or AKA your boss or whatever.
Y'all write
That's
that shit
that's
down.
how it stuck with me, right? It stuck with me because I'm like, when I became like the person, I was like, oh shit, I got interns and I could choose them and I could like choose who I want to, have around and I could take them under my wing. When I got an intern or a couple interns, I knew like the treatment I wanted because I worked under asshole people sometimes too, that they were just like, oh, can you go get the fucking mail? Can you go do this? Or like, and I'm like, no, I want to fucking learn. And they wouldn't, So when
Make
I
that
became
coffee.
the person, no, literally I've made many coffees. So at some point, I was like, when I became the person, their boss or whatever, I was like, hell no. I'm like, I'm going to give these people whatever the fuck I wanted, you know? So, yes, while I fucked with them here and there, 9 times out of 10, I was either showing them something to learn because I knew I wanted to learn when I was in this. I knew I wanted to be in that position at some point. So I gave them that. I gave them the treatment I wanted to be, you know? And also, again, I'm already not a mean person, but to know that this can potentially be either bigger than me or like work some dope ass shit and maybe I'm going to need them in the future for something, I will not mistreat them. So my interns were always, and I'm sure they can attest to this, because I still have a really good friendship with all the interns I had in my life, I definitely never made them do any dumb shit unless it was for entertainment.
Even like this stuff, like it's like a lot different when you said, because we were talking, but you got to be entertaining at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like a skill for us. Like we've been working on this shit. Because it is way fucking different. I can't even imagine like live in the radio, like talking to people. That's crazy.
Well, see, if it's one tip I can give you is never take yourself too serious, right? So like be able to be okay to be the intern. I'm just kidding.
Damn, that's how it is.
I'm just kidding. But like, see, like having that good, if you're going to be an entertainer, you have to be okay. And that's part of having the thick skin. Yeah. But it works with when you apply that to yourself. So like he makes fun of himself, right? He's like, oh yeah, that's funny. They threw water at me, whatever. He's not actually hurt about it. And he knew that if they did that,
funny.
That would be funny.
I'm not laughing. I'm really hurt. But
Shut up. You were probably like, take the shirt off and put water so that the girls can see
That's
it.
exactly.
There was no girls. That's the worst
Hey,
part.
How many photos did you take yesterday with your shirt off?
None.
Oh, okay.
I believe it.
I'm still waiting on somebody to
his
say it.
Instagram.
He was telling
I believe
Mondo
it.
and Freddie, hey, bro, how should
You're
I
gonna
pose?
see
How
them.
should
You're
I-
gonna see them on there. He was like,
Yeah.
Freddie, I don't like the lights.
Oh, and the wet T-shirt.
You guys are
too.
giving away all the secret sauce right now.
That is all actually the good stuff. Those are the thirst traps that the women like.
There it is.
That's funny.
And some men too. Are you okay with that? Like being okay with some men sexualizing you?
Some men, it's mainly men that sexualize me
Really?
more than women.
Like
yeah,
how
for
do you
sure.
mean? Like how do they?
Like it's mainly gay guys though. I feel.
Really?
Yes. I get my eyebrows done.
Maybe you give
But I
gay
can't-
vibes.
Think
I'm just kidding.
so?
I'm just kidding. I'm
Damn.
just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No,
It's a
See,
nose
now,
ring,
now
bro.
I'm second guessing myself. It's like
no, like, having eyebrows on there's nothing wrong with that. But I will say that sometimes that's the beauty of being on social media though. You can't like I used to back then before social media. This is one of the regrets I kind of had. I don't really regret it too much. But I sent pictures of myself to fucking prisoners in like Atwater
for free, or you were selling them
for money.
for free. No.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I get so much mail from prisoners, right? And I'm like, these are people. I don't know what they did.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So and they don't. The theater of the mind. They don't know what I look like. This was back then, and so I had.
So they send you
I had-
soups back or what?
Huh?
They send you soups as payment.
No, they sent me drawings as payments. Like
Oh,
they would draw out like certain cool stuff. It was pretty cool. But you know what they did? They sent me like drawings of my sayings. I was like, oh, they really do fucking listen. So one day I went and took pictures with a friend of mine, and there's a bunch of, I'm sure, a lot of dudes in jail that have my picture because I was like, I want them to be able to see me when they're hearing me. And that was back then before, like, again, social media. Like, now they got fucking phones in jail.
I seen jail people making TikToks and
That's
shit
so
in the fucking. I'm like, what the
funny.
fuck?
They go
Isn't that-
live. I see
go
the picture
live.
shows.
They go live up in there now.
First of all,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
isn't
They
that
have
crazy?
dogs and shit. I'm like, there's no way they keistered that shit.
How to make an M&M McFlurry?
Oh
I'm
my
like, what the fuck?
God!
Prison?
Yes, or
Yeah,
like
you
how
see
to
that
make
one.
tamarindo.
Yeah, tamarindo, yeah.
I was like, that's
It's on
crazy.
TikTok. I have a plan for prison. If I go to prison, bro, like I'm for sure, like I'm going in as a
Oh,
girl.
You're dropping
You-
the cell, bro.
I'm going in like I'm telling you.
No,
just in case.
You're
Bro, if you go in as a girl, that's worse, bro.
No,
No,
I'm
you
like
get- you
I
get all the
identify.
coochie.
I'm going to the girl prison.
Oh, you're gonna identify as a woman.
Repopulating.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you.
You're saying that's worse. You to go in and like, who wants
No,
these cheeks?
I'm like, bro, what
This isn't longest yard, bro. This isn't longest yard.
Why would you do that?
What's the-
Why would you set yourself up?
He's
You
like,
really-
oh, those are real gay vibes. Okay.
What's your favorite thing about the Central Valley and Fresno and all the stuff we have here?
You know what I love about the Central Valley? That it's one person, I don't remember who it was, but they told me it is you're a small fish in a big pond, right? Because everyone's like, oh, it's just Fresno. It's just Fresno. I'm not going to lie. When I first got here, I was like, what the fuck is a Fresno? I've never been there. What the fuck is that? And then when I was driving over here, because I'm from Los Angeles, right? When I was driving over here, I was like, oh my God, Dad, you're going to have us living in fucking fields. Like, what is this? Never seen this type of lifestyle. And then I got here and I was really sad and depressed. I was like, I missed my friend. I was in, high school before I graduated because I ended up going back to graduate. But I was like still in high school, and I was like, this is not what I want. You know, you rebel against like what your parents want you to do, and I hated it. I hated everything about it. Then I started looking up. I don't know if you guys are probably too young for this, but how old are you?
Oh, you should have looked at me.
How old are you? How old are you?
30. I'm 30.
Okay, so you kind of know about the Fresno Uncensored life.
Oh, yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that kind of? Okay, so
Fuck, I don't know about that.
so basically that was like very prominent when I first got here, and it made Fresno look really, really bad. It made it look like it was all about gangsters, and maybe it was at a certain time, but not the time that I got here. Like,
Was it like a YouTube channel or something, or like what was it?
it was the first viral video. It was like a first viral video that had gone viral, I guess. But I don't even know where. I just remember I got a CD and I put it in, and it showed a bunch of like bangers, you know, like from the valley. And I was like, damn. And they had it out there, like people everywhere in the world.
It was the Fresno
were watching
mixtape.
and we were on the map, but for a bad thing.
Was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that Vice TV. Vice TV came out here and they did like a huge
That fucking
documentary in
meth shit,
Fresno.
yeah.
It was like meth capital of the world.
See,
and
exactly.
that's
So
people know it.
that's the image that I had going into. I was like, oh man, and this place is like full of gang members and blah 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 blah. Well, then as I lived here, as I learned to like grow and like feel like, all right, I'm stuck here. Let me just get to know it. There's a lot of dope things about it. You know what I love about Fresno? That the people who are really from here, because there's a lot of the people that are like, man, there's nothing to do here. It's fucking boring. It's blah blah blah. Those are the people that are just going to have that negative mindset, because I was like that going into living here. I was like, oh, this sucks. But I was like, let's see what the entertainment part of it is. Like, where can I find entertainment? There's so much to do in Fresno. What I love is that the people who are ride or die, like the place we're at now, they believe in what they have, right? And then they love supporting others. And Fresno has done that for me, because when I first got here, I was like, nobody's going to like me, especially because I didn't know there was like a rivalry with LA and Fresno back in the day. And I was always like, oh, I'm from LA. I don't know about you guys. And then after like the 10th year of living here, I was like, oh no, I can't say that anymore. I'm like from here now. And I know where all the good spots are now. And I'm invited, you know? So like, I love that about Fresno, that they open their arms for me, but for like other people, like the people that genuinely love Fresno, the businesses, if you notice, they want people to come and visit, right? They're like, check this out. This is so dope. The fields, I think that even though I talk shit when I first got here, I look at that now like, you know, we grow those fucking oranges here, or, you know, we do that. Like, I'm proud of that, you know? I'm also proud of the fact that there's, like, for instance, little things make me happy. And I didn't know about the Fresno chilies. You guys know about those? I don't know. Yeah. When anything I hear on TV that is Fresno, this is how you know you're proud of it, because you get excited for those things, right? And there was a chef that was on TV talking about Fresno peppers. I was like, do we have those? And I'm like looking it up. I was like, see, that's dope. Like there's cool things that happen. Some may think it's not, some may think it is. But the Fresno, one thing about Fresno is Fresnians that really do genuinely love where they're at, their soil, they believe in growth. And as someone who came from somewhere else, a bigger city, I'm from Los Angeles, coming to Fresno, I was like, what is this? It's so small. I now see Fresno way bigger, you know? I see the potential. There's so much to grow. If I never had the opportunity to be in radio in Fresno, I would have never been able to have my dream of being in radio with my mentor, someone I grew up loving in radio. Because I had that taste here and I got to test the waters and understand the business, I got to work in LA, in my hometown at some point. I probably would have never done that if I would have stayed in LA. You get what I'm saying? So like this, I feel like people that come here need to know, if you end up moving here, need to know that there's so much you can test to see if it's gonna work or not. Because let me tell you, Fresno will keep it a buck. You know, the people in Fresno will definitely keep it. If they like you, you're gonna feel that. If they don't like you, you're also gonna feel that too. So I love the realness of that. Like Fresno can make you feel if you're good or not, or if you need to do better, or if you need to change something. Right? Am I right?
No, I agree,
like,
100%.
I feel that is. It says a lot, because when you go to Los Angeles, unfortunately, even though I'm from there and I love it, there's a lot of places where like, people are fake. And yeah, certain parts in Hollywood, but not everywhere. There's a lot of beautiful different cities around there, you know, and that's how I feel about Fresno. With Fresno is like, man, everybody, the people that are in Visalia, the people that are in like Parley or Sanger, they all want to kind of be part of Sanger, you know, I mean, Fresno, like they want to be part of it, or they want to be included in that. And that's the beauty of it. Like, I think there's a lot to be said with, yes, there's not as much entertainment as there was in the past, but now we're learning. So like now food is a big thing, and people are traveling everywhere to come try our food here. You know, the taco truck throwdown, that's so huge. Everybody comes from everywhere.
Year, right?
Yes. They actually
Dude, it's
had
gonna
me.
be so fucking fun, dude.
They had me eating tacos.
How many do you
fucking, how many, like, dude,
I
that's gotta
had
be a lot of
I
food.
had 28 tacos one time, but obviously I don't eat them all.
But how do
just
you
get a
prepare
bite
for that, though? Like, do you not eat the whole day before?
So I will eat a little bit in the morning, and then I kind of I felt like the pro because they would never bring anybody back. I was the only one that kept going back as
you're the
a
only judge that
tester.
can-
Yeah,
oh,
the judge,
shit.
because they kept having different judges, but they would bring me back, and I was like, I'm doing some shit right. So then I gotta really do this like right. So what I would do is I would eat in the morning, and then because after like the fucking 5th taco, I would be tired, and I was like, no, I gotta have a strategy. So what I would do is I would eat in the morning, and then I wouldn't eat as much like for the day. I'm preparing for these tacos, and then you have to have just one bite of each, and then you get to a point where you're so full that you just bite and you savor the moment, and then you spit it out.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of great stuff about Fresno. You got the taco trucks, all this stuff going on. But I know there's a lot of cool events that you host, and you're going to be hosting upcoming pretty soon. So can you tell everyone, us and everyone at home, about some of the events you got going on?
So the Tequila Fest is a big deal because I feel like many people haven't seen Rick Ross in Fresno, although he's probably come a couple times, but it's a big deal, man. And I'm going to be out there, of course, our radio station, but there's also going to be food trucks. So you'll have a chance to vibe out, get drunk, and also enjoy some good ass entertainment.
It's at Chancey Park, no?
Yep, Chancey Park. That's going to be, by the way, tickets are still available, but we're also doing a VIP party, and this is a pre-show for everyone who wants to turn up. It's the CK and Carmen pre-show party, so you get to kick it with us. We have a dope view. Like, it's exclusive because you have exclusive entertainment. You'll have a DJ there playing music. You'll have the tequila, of course, but you get to kick it with us, and that's another part I love about that because, like, when we do things like this, we're able to, like, kick it with our listeners, people that win. We used to do party buses all the time where we would take literally a bunch of our winners in Fresno and we would take them to like the Bay, to LA. It's just cool, that shit. Yeah. So we're doing that now with the Tequila Fest. It's a way of doing a little more intimate moment, but you're also pre-turning up, and then the event happens. So the Tequila Fest is really like a big deal right now. May 20th, that's going to be happening at Chancey Park. And again, if you want to get tickets, you still can, but for the pre-show party, it is limited, obviously, because it's not a big space. But yeah, we're turning up.
I understand that being in the industry, like, you had to change your name, right?
Yes.
So how did that go, and how's that?
So when I first started radio, I was an intern, right? So I didn't know that these people didn't have their real names out there. So I was an intern, and they were like, okay, so we seem to have you now on the radio a lot, but we have to make sure we give you a name. So what do you want to go off of? I was like, well, my name is Nancy, right? My real name. Because I feel like a lot of people that know that now, they're like, what? You don't look like a Nancy, right?
And I feel like you're a liar now.
I know, and that's how I felt. Like I was lying to everybody. But I loved it, the best of both worlds, because I knew that people that didn't know me, they'd be like, hey, Carmen. And the people that did, Nancy, I was like, oh, so if someone's calling me Nancy, they must know me, right?
We introduced you as Carmen today, so it's like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that comes natural because now you won't call me Nancy because it feels weird to you, right? So here's the thing. When I was an intern, they're like, every interns have names. So they'll be like, oh, we had an intern Cookie because one day she was eating a big ass cookie. They named her that, right? So with me, they couldn't figure it out. They're like, what should we call you? And you know what? We're going to have you on the radio a lot more. So we should give you like a real name and also one that's going to resonate with a lot of Latinas, because in Fresno, obviously, it's very Latino driven, and they wanted that. They're like, how can we do it? Because Nancy just doesn't do it. I was like, 2 fucking Mexican ass parents named me that. Of course it fucking has to be Mexican enough. But they're like, no, let's get something else. So they gave me a list, and it was like Maria. Yeah.
Damn, that's so
Lupita, Rose, Reina, and I was like, literally, these are all my tias. Pick whatever you want. And they were like, okay, Carmen is sexy, and you know what? We're gonna go with Carmen. It just goes with you. And then looking back, I'm like, damn, my boss was totally hit on me, because he's like, yeah, it kind of goes with you. It's sexy. I was like, all right. I'm just kidding. But anyway, he was like really, really like the homie. But they ended up naming me that, and they're like, oh, so we have intern Carmen. So when I got hired, they were like, all right, so this is the time where you could change your name. Do you want to stay with Carmen or do you want to go with Nancy? And I was like, you know what? I feel weird saying Nancy now, so let's just say with Carmen, because it was like a whole year and a half. I actually, by the way, broke a record. I'd been the longest intern there, because I cheated. I used to say like I was still in school, but I had already quit, and they were still taking me in thinking that it was an internship, but it really wasn't. But anyway, I did it so much because I loved it.
You gotta do what you gotta do, yeah.
It paid off, yeah. So yeah, exactly. You don't do that, kids. But when I ended up getting hired, they were like, so what do you want to do? And then I just stayed with Carmen. And then fast forward to like, man, I really wish I would have just said fucking my real name. You know, it just feels better. Like all these artists that come in and they sign my shit, and I have so much audio, and they're all saying Carmen. So at some point I thought about putting my middle name as Carmen, like, because I don't have a middle name. I thought about giving myself that middle name, like, legally, so that I can connect to all this stuff I have, you know, like the celebrities that have signed my stuff, just like interviews I have where I'm like, I can feel more connected to that name. So yeah, I ended up staying with Carmen because of that. And then now when I dropped a YouTube, and it was like, I didn't even think it was going to be a big deal, but like the news picked it up. The Fresno Bee did a whole article on my name change. Like, oh, radio DJ changed her name because her boss were racist. And I was like, no, wait, that's not why. But, you know, that's the other thing. Like, they'll flip stuff, and that's what entertainment does, and that's what news does. But no, I definitely specified, like, no, it's nothing like that. He's a very great person. I always wish him well. But I knew what he was trying to do. Yeah, so I ended up switching my name. So, again, now I embrace it. I love it. And I really do have a Thea named Carmen. So,
there you go.
Yeah,
kind of fits with the family.
It worked.
And the next one on the, I know we mentioned the taco truck throwdown. What are the top 3 taco places to get in Fresno, you think?
Oh, first off, I love El Premio Mayor. Oh my gosh, so good.
That was a golden one, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Taco Pinto is another one. Really, really good. Are you guys familiar with that?
I've never had
Pinto's just really, really good. I think it's either Taqueria or Pinto's Tacos, one of those. But that one's really, really good.
Where's that one at?
I knew them from the taco truck, but I actually haven't gone to their actual place. But the reason why I know those taco joints is because they actually were winners in the previous taco truck throwdowns. And then a third one, my mom's house. No,
That's
legit.
fair.
Let me
That's
tell you. Fun fact: my dad and my mom, when they moved to Fresno, they opened a restaurant called Pimpo Papas. It was actually not far from here. They opened a restaurant, and it was really good. It was going so good, but again, back then there was a lot of messy stuff happening, and a lot of we felt like a lot of restaurants were trying to knock it down because there was a lot of different, you know, a lot of hatering happening, but it's okay, understandable. You live and you learn. But where we were at, it wasn't really a good location, and there was a lot of rivalry with Mexican restaurants because they were trying to succeed, right? So they didn't want another Mexican joint, and we just felt that. And then we kept getting robbed. One time, it was New Year's Eve. We were hosting something there, and like everyone in the parking lot, their cars were shot up, and damn, that sounds bad, but you know what? It really was during those times. And then, and my dad was like, you know what? We can't keep getting robbed, so we just shut it down. So they shut it down, but my mom and my dad are both great cooks. They actually even sold food after that and my dad did radio and the restaurant too. So people like were familiar with the restaurant because of him, but they're actually really great cooks. So anytime I eat any sort of tacos, I compare them to that. Yeah. The other place I really like, and this is the most recent one, is Biggie's Burrito. And Biggie Burrito is actually a recent one I just started going to. And it's new. It's on Belmont. So people are intimidated by the location. And I say don't. Because the thing... Huh?
Belmont's a little...
It is intimidating because you hear all these stories, right?
Yeah.
But there's like... They're trying to make it a better place, a safer place, a safer environment. And to be honest with you, yes, it can sound intimidating if you're from here because you're like, oh, that's a bad street. But me being there multiple times, I've never felt anything crazy, to be honest. And so, again, maybe it comes from the fact that I've been in Fresno for so long, you know, but I definitely like their food. I had their queso birria.
That's what I want right now.
They're so good.
I'm so hungry. We're talking about this food. I'm so hungry.
Yeah. So yeah, I consider myself a taco connoisseur for sure.
Okay. And the last question, because we're you talking about that makes us hungry. We got to go get to dinner.
For real.
Last question is obviously you interviewed a lot of celebrities, big people on radio. Who's your top 3 celebrities you met that was like lived up to your expectation? It was just really good people.
Christina Milian was one. I'll never forget. She was just sweetheart. Like actually, she's probably sweeter in person than what you see because she wasn't really showcased as a personality. It was more like this sexy figure, but she's so sweet, so unique. She speaks Spanish. She's Latina. She's Afro-Latina. So like super cute, genuinely a good person. I felt I'm a type of person that feeds off the energy of people. Like I could feel when you don't like me. I can feel when you do. Soulja Boy, fucking hated him when I first met him, right?
Really?
Yeah. When we interviewed him, I was like, oh, this dude. He did it first. He was one of the first I hated. No, listen. But fast forward. So I interviewed him when he was at the peak of his career, starting off, right? His head was so far up his ass that he didn't give a fuck about any radio personality. It was just like, had his shades on, big ass shirt.
Remember
I
these
was
days?
just like, all right, anything else? What else? Like, didn't care to be there. I'm like, dude, we're helping you promote your fucking music.
crazy.
Fast forward to during the pandemic, I interviewed him via virtual, Zoom, and different person. Completely different person. I was like, bro, I like you. Like, I fucking hated
He's
you.
making gaming stations now. He's a new man, right?
A businessman. He says and does some dumb shit, but at the end of the day, a very smart man. Also,
Sometimes he'll be like, I did it first. I'm like, no, you didn't. There's a picture. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, he was in this
did.
picture the whole fucking
He was the
time.
very first person to actually receive a cell phone. Like, Soulja Boy was the first person, and here's the thing that people didn't know. Even he was like, how the fuck do you know that? Because I did my research, but he was a straight A student. Before he did music, straight A student. Obviously, everyone around him was like, "This dude is fucking smart," and probably I'm assuming his parents probably wanted him to stay in school, but he chose this different lifestyle, and it worked out for him. But probably because he's a pretty smart person. Yep. But when I asked him, I was like, "Were you really a straight A student?" He's like, "Yeah, I actually was." Like he was good with education and soaking in information, but he used that to the best of his ability while doing something he loved, right? He loves entertaining. That's why when you see him going off the walls and like being an asshole and like saying dumb shit, I'm like, there's a reason for it. He's probably gonna either drop some music, some merch, or he's got us talking about him
He's
again.
trying to get eyeballs on him, man.
Yeah. So
Cool.
him, I actually like
I wasn't
him.
expecting him, honestly. I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, he was an asshole at first, but shit changes, people grow. So yeah, them two, and then I would say Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, Kendrick. But then also Kendrick, I had him very early on, but I know people now that know him personally, and he seems to be the same person, stay true to himself. And I think that's why you don't see him in the spotlight all the time, because I think he wants to stay grounded, probably always remember where he comes from. And I think that's why you don't see him until he wants you to see him. Same with J. Cole, right? I guess another one I wish I could actually meet.
They kind of disappear until they got a project coming up, and then you kind of see them in
But I think that they do that for their sanity.
Yeah.
They have to. I think they do that because they want to make sure they remember where they come from, and they don't get caught up in what you hear, these stories of like being in Hollywood and mind fucking yourself. So I think I like it. They're grounded. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
100%. You guys have anything else? Any other? Awesome.
Did we miss
Carmen?
anything?
Not the main question? Bro, the main question? Are all aces question?
Oh, okay, yes.
Bro, what is wrong? Who are you?
Big episode, bro.
The
I'm a little
intern,
nervous, man.
you should be just the lead, dude.
At this point,
You're
huh?
taking over. Okay, go ahead.
God,
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. You
No,
get to
what is
I'm
it?
not gonna.
Oh, I'm actually looking at him. Now he's
I can watch him
So
ask
what is
it, and then.
What is the question?
Go ahead.
Future self. Okay, so.
We're gonna see if he remembers that.
All right.
Come on, Nate.
God damn it! There's so much, pressure.
Actually know the question.
All right,
I
everybody,
know
show
there's a
up the cameras,
question.
come
I just
back
don't know
to
what
it.
it is.
No, okay, no. So if there was advice that yourself now would tell yourself before you got to this point, what I butchered the fuck out of it, but that's mainly the question.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah,
That's the gist of it.
So what, say it again.
So like where you're at right now, if you could go back, like, I don't know, before you were at where you're at right now, like before, all the hard work, everything, all your success, what would be some advice that you would give yourself back then from everything that you know now? I'm officially the lead now, everybody.
Yeah, he is. He's graduated today. I would probably tell myself not to be so hard on myself. I know that sounds cliche, but like genuinely to believe myself. Like I would tell, like actually even now, I fake it till you make it. For real, for real. You know how people say that, fake it till you make it?
100%, yeah.
At first I used to be like, who the fuck? That means you got to be a fake person, right? But no, when you really like deeply look at that, faking it, meaning I didn't believe in myself before I got tossed to go, you're live tomorrow, right? And I was like, oh shit, I am? So it's like, if they believe I'm good, even though deep inside I didn't believe I was good, I was like, damn, for real? When my boss, who had been successful for all those years prior to me, told me, tomorrow you're going live on the radio, I knew in that moment, I was like, damn, if he believes in me, I got to pretend at least that I know what the fuck I'm doing. And I literally would fake it every day. I would shaking to turn on the machine. At the time, it's a board. But I was like, oh, the machine's got to go on. Like, this, I got to be live. I would shake every time, right? And then over time, I like literally faked myself into thinking I knew what I was doing. And every time I'd be like, whew, I didn't fucking kick us off air. Or, whew, I didn't cuss because I have a really bad potty mouth.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, shit, I didn't cuss today.
You
like
say all that shit here now,
fuck
see?
yeah, fuck you and fuck him too. Just kidding.
There it is.
No,
Let it out.
but yeah, so really when that term, like fake it till you make it, it really truly, in my opinion, it means like even when you don't believe in yourself, take that risk. Because at the end of the day, it could either lead you to a different direction to where you say, hey, that just didn't work out for me. Or it could actually be like, damn. So people that didn't see what I had, the potential I had, I really did have it, you know? But at least you faked it all the way to know whether or not it was going to work for you. Yeah. So I would say definitely fake it till you make it in a good way. Fake it till someone else believes in you. If they believe in you and this is the potential of something that you want to do, continue to do it. Yeah.
That's some good advice too. I feel like because everybody views that as cliche, it gets so overlooked, but that's so important.
It does. But when you break it down like that, right, when you realize like, oh, they're not saying be a fake person. They're saying someone else is believing in you. So I know you're scared, but if you just pretend whatever the fuck they see that you're doing good, if you just pretend like you know what the fuck you're doing and what they think you're doing, it may lead you to something well. Because look at me. I'm honestly, when they told me the next day, you're going to be on air by yourself. I was like, by myself? They're like, yeah, I mean, you know how to run the board. Yes, but like by myself? Well, what else is there to do? Like, you know how to touch the button to turn it on. You know how to do the board. I'm like, yeah, but can somebody like overlook me? And literally they stood outside of the door just because of me. Because I didn't believe in myself. To make me feel better. I was like, just in case, can we have somebody in case I fuck it up, in case I curse? Like the button, like what do I press? And yeah, because they believed in me. And I will forever be grateful for this man. Because he believed in me, I was able to fake it till I made it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That's my story, guys. I did curse a lot, though. And they knew.
I did curse a lot, though.
I still do, but
Drop
yeah.
those ears.
That's the beauty of radio. You could dump it so they can't hear it.
That's funny advice. And I think everyone at home, if you never need some advice, you need some pick-me-up, just anything in general, in life in general, right? You can rewind that last couple clips, the last 5 minutes, and I think it can really apply either you're trying to get into radio, trying to get into school, trying to get in just any business world at all, right? I think it can really help you out a lot. And I know that we can't say it enough, but we really appreciate you, Carmen, coming on.
Thank you, guys. I had so much fun, for real. With the intern, too. Like, this was really fun.
We appreciate it. We know you're super busy. You got all the events going on, so we appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys home as well. Every single episode always showing so much love, so much support. And, yeah, anything else?
Until the next time, baby.
Until the next time, peace.
Peace.